Welcome back. This is the horrifying story about the Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary located in Petros, Tennessee. It opened its doors back in 1896 and operated till 2009. One of Brushy Mountain's most famous inmate, James Earl Ray, the man who assassinated Martin Luther King Jr. He also escaped from the prison for as long as 58 hours along with 6 other notorious inmates. They were captured just 8 miles away from the facility. He died in this prison in 1998. His body was buried right outside the penitentiary, along with hundreds of other unclaimed bodies each. Paranormalists have reported screams and load chain noises sounding as chains dragging down the old Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary's halls. Creepy, right? I know. I can feel the chills running down my spine as I tell you about it. Did you know the prison was even structured as a upside-down satanic cross? The old Brushy Mountain wasn't just a prison for decades, it was also known to be a coal mine for the state of Tennessee. By the end of the Civil War, the railroad construction started to boom rapidly, expanding the mining business. The prison lease system was adopted through the South mainly because the state government couldn't afford to build and maintain prisons, feed, shelter and clothe inmates. A convict lease program cut costs and brought in money. Beyond that, officials could exploit the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery but allowed involuntary servitude for criminal punishment. When federal troops left the South in 1877 after Reconstruction, state officials who were hostile to former slaves handed down long prison terms and life sentences, even for petty crimes. Soon, blacks made up the majority of prisoners in the South. The Cold Creek War. Tennessee began leasing prisoners in 1866, and by 1891, the Tennessee coal mine in Anderson County adopted the practice. This fateful decision led to the Coal Creek War, where citizen miners attacked and burned the state prison, stockades and mines, then loaded prisoners and guards alike onto a train headed out of town. Mining companies sent them back and state officials called the troops for protection. When months of small arms skirmishes led to dead men on both sides, officials realized the cost of maintaining a standing militia undercut and financial gains, and as convict lease contracts expired, legislation passed to construct the state's first maximum security prison, Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary. Prisoners were forced to mine in free labor for extremely long hours. If one refused to obey orders, they were tied to chains that were custom specifically for torture. Between the ongoing violence, deadly mining accidents and chronic illness, life inside Brushy was precarious to say the least. Diseases were rampant, including tuberculosis, typhoid, pneumonia, and syphilis, which alone affected 3/4 of the black prisoners. Beyond generally poor medical care and treatment, inmates were routinely beaten for underproducing in the mines. Despite their dire health conditions, many died as a result. Note as there was never a death row at the Brushy Mountain, but despite that there were plenty of deaths. Nevertheless, if you were scheduled to be transferred to this facility, you might as well condemn yourself to death. Hell is what's destined for you, my friend. Rumors that the old warden would torture and chop up inmates' bodies to then flush them down the toilet as waste. Straight evil. But convicts continued to work and die in the mines for decades. It was Lake Russell, a reform-minded warden, who finally stopped the mining at Brushy Mountain. Of course, the mines were also losing money. So was he a good warden, or a good businessman that put an end to it? That's Brushy for you. This was the most infamous era of Brushy's history, a time when the assassin James Earl Ray was transported here, tried to escape, failed, got stabbed. In '72 the guards went on strike, demanding security improvements, and Brushy was shut down for 4 years. So they improved some things and reopened Brushy in '76, but friends, let me tell you, it was still Brushy. Tensions between black inmates and white inmates threatened to overwhelm a system that just didn't seem capable of containing the evil of this place. In '82, the powder keg ignited. 7 white inmates held guards hostage at knife point. They took the guards' guns, found 4 of their black rivals in their locked cells and opened fire. They killed 2. The other 2 managed to survive by hiding in the corner behind their mattresses. People said things couldn't get any worse, and maybe, finally, they were right. Besides the infamous James Earl Ray, there was Byron, Low Tax, Looper, a politician who really went as far as changing his middle name to Low Tax, yes, with the parentheses, all in a bid for power. Well, that was the true story of the old Brushy Penitentiary. For more similar content, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell.